Hi guys. Right, today we're going to talk about the interlocking graph. A couple of people have asked me to give them an idea of how to read an interlocking graph. You know that you don't need to know how to read the graph in order to do the design, because the design instructions are actually written out for you. But in case you wanted to design your own pot holder or blanket or placemat or table runner, obviously it's good to know how to do this. So you have to understand though that there are different designers that have different methods of designing their interlocking. The method that I use is a method that I encountered when I started with interlocking. The designer that I learned from, so to speak, uses this method. And so because it's the method I know as an interlocker, obviously it's the method that I continued to use as a designer. Right. So firstly, this can be done in Excel. You don't need any special software. It's not required. The outside lines, so I'm going to show you what all these lines mean, and then I'm going to show you how to interpret them. So these outside lines here that run, this one that runs right around here, that is the outside border of your design. So if I were to take a design and show it to you, it is in fact, before this border was on, it was this line here that's hidden, now hidden. Okay, it's now closed up by a border that was stitched, but it's that line. Okay, that is this, right? This line, the line that's running on the inside, is the inside border line. So in this scenario, it would be this border line here. Right? And it's running right around on this particular design. Okay. All these bold lines that you see, those are all lines that your color A, that's the line that forms your pattern. So if you were to look at this, in this scenario, the white was used as the main color. So you can see all the lines that you can see here are here. Okay, these colored blocks, that indicates your solid stitches. Again, if you were looking at the actual design, it's these ones here. Okay, if you look at this design, there's your solid stitches, and those are all indicated on this particular pattern as solid blocks or grayed out blocks. Okay, the lines that you can't see, so they're the light gray grid lines. Those lines are your color B lines. Because remember, you don't actually want to see your color B. So those are your color B lines. Okay, and so they will either, remember, interlocking is about pushing to the back or pulling to the front. Okay, they don't form a picture. In this case, because it's an abstract design, it forms a shape, but that is not the focus of this design. The focus of this particular design is actually these bold lines. Okay, right. Now, how to interpret this? You will see, okay, the other thing you need to remember is that in interlocking, there's as much as you can design in such a way that whether the crocheter is right-handed or left-handed, the image will just become a mirror of itself. There is a difference insofar as a right-handed crocheter crochets from right to left. A left-handed crocheter crochets from left to right. It doesn't matter as long as the design is either symmetrical, or it doesn't matter that it mirrors itself, but it does matter if there are words, letters, numbers in the design, because then it's going to be back to front. Okay. Those of you who have bought my patterns before or that are familiar with my patterns, you will know that I always issue a left-handed and a right-handed set of instructions. And the reason for that is that I am a right-handed person, but I'm a left-handed crocheter, which means that I also then design primarily left-handed, and then I convert the pattern for right-handed crocheters because most crocheters in the world are right-handed. And so I offer both in my patterns. Right. So I'm going to speak to you as if this is for left-handed, but the same principles apply for right-handed. There's actually no actual difference. Okay. So you will see a row of numbers at the bottom of the graph. That row is duplicated at the top. And if you're left-handed, if you're looking at a graph that was created for left-handers, it would be your 1 would start there and it would go to 25 or whatever the end number is here. And if you were right-handed, 1 would be here and move that way. The same, it's duplicated at the top of the graph. Then you'll see a set of horizontal numbers. Again, if you're left-handed, 1 would be here, and it's only marked every second row because this is for your rows. So it's row 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and so forth. And on this side is your even numbered row 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. If you were right-handed, these would be switched around. Okay. Right. Now, when the row is an uneven numbered row. So you're counting, let's start here on row 3. You're counting the vertical lines for A rows. Your A rows are your vertical lines. Your B rows are the horizontal lines, of those lines over there. Okay. So if this was row 3A, okay, well, it is row 3A. The bold line is a front stitch. The light line, the light gray that you see, that's sort of like the original Excel grid line, that is a back stitch. That is an uneven A row. An uneven B row, in other words, row 3B, the bold line is a light color line. Sorry, I'm confusing myself. The light line is a front stitch. The bold line is a back stitch. Okay, it's the reverse. I'm going to say that again. Row 3B, in other words, an uneven numbered B row. The light line is a front stitch. The bold line is a back stitch. Okay, now let's get to an even numbered row. I'm going to take an even numbered row that doesn't have solid stitches. Okay, row 8. In an even numbered row, the light line is a front stitch on the A rows. Now, again, you're looking at the vertical stitches for A rows, and horizontals, the horizontal lines are the B rows. So the A row, vertical stitch, the light line is a front stitch, the bold line is a back stitch. That's on an even numbered row. The B row, which is the horizontal lines, the light line is a back stitch, the bold line is a front stitch. Again, it reverses itself. So I'm going to say this again. On an even numbered A row, the light line is a front stitch, the bold line is a back stitch. On the B row, the light line is a back stitch, the bold line is a front stitch. Okay. That is the be all and end all of just when it's just lines. These solid sections, or the grayed out blocks, those are for solid stitches. Now, to count those, if you want to incorporate solid stitching in your design work, you don't have to, by the way. I love them because, like I've said before, they give great definition. But if you really want to incorporate them, how you count them is every one cell that is grayed out counts for 2. plus 1. So this is 3. If they were next to each other, let me go to a pattern where they are next to each other. I think there we go. Actually, this is a great pattern to show you. That would be considered 3. Here you've got, so it's 2 plus 1. Here you've got 3 squares that are bolded out or that are grayed out. So it's 2, 4, 6 plus 1 is 7. Here you've got 2 that are grayed out. That's 2, 4 plus 1 is 5. There's a gap. In other words, there's a chain 1. And then it's 2, 4 plus 1 is 5. Then you've got 3, 2, 4, 6 plus 1 is 7. Because there's 3 blocks. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. And there's 1 block. It counts as 2 plus 1 is 3. So your solid stitches are always counted in uneven numbers, either 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, however you want to do them. Okay, like I said, you don't have to incorporate solid stitching in your design work. It can just be the straight lines. And if you want to look at this design, in reality, you can see that there are your solid stitches. And there's this bit over here, also with the hole in the middle. This is unblocked, by the way, so it's not showing through very nicely. But there's the hole, which is created by that. Okay, and that really is the be-all and end-all, like I said, of designing. The one thing to remember, when you're working with a right-handed chart, your outside stitch is going to be on the left side. Your end stitch for your B row is going to be on the is also going to be on the left side on your uneven numbered rows, and on your even numbered rows, your outside stitch and your end stitch for your A and B rows is going to be on the right side. For left-handed charts, an uneven numbered row, your outside border stitch and your end stitch, your outside border stitch is on your A row, remember? So outside border stitch and your end stitch on your B row is going to be on the right-hand side. And for an even numbered row, it's going to be on the left-hand side. Then the other thing to remember is your chain up. So you can see here, there are only, it's only 1 to 25. Okay, yet in the pattern, it tells you to chain up 54. Here's how you work out the formula. It is whatever the width of the grid is. So in this case, it's 25. It's 25 times 2 plus 4. So it's 25 times 2, because remember, this entire grid is not taking into account the chain 1 that you have to do after every double crochet. So it's 25 times 2 gives you 50 plus 4. Why do we add the 4? Because remember, when we start row 1A, we start from the 6th chain of the hook. We do the first double crochet into the 6th chain on the hook. So you're going to always say it's the width of the grid times 2 plus 4. That's for row 1A. For row 1B, because you need the meshes to interlock, you're always going to, your foundation chain is always going to be 2 stitches shorter or 2 stitches less than your original foundation chain. So row 1A is 54, row 1B is 52. Okay. In the last, on row 1A, the last double crochet is always worked into the last chain, and it's not counted into the amount of times that there's a double crochet. So let me just explain that better. Remember, the stitch sequence is double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, 24 times in this case, because it's a pot holder. And then when you get to the end, you'll always have 2 chain left. So then you have to skip a chain, and then you do a double crochet into the last chain. Okay, and that will give you 25 windows. In your row 1B, you're always going to do, I suppose it depends on the design, because I always do mine like this, but I have seen designers where they change up row 1B depending on what on the design that they've created. So they might give you instructions for a combination of front and back stitches right off the bat from row 1B onwards. I don't like to do that because I actually like this other border that gets created here. On my designs, you'll always find this little inside border going. Sometimes I'll fill up row 2A with solid stitching over here, so then you won't actually see this line, such as my pattern Baby Steps. If you go and look at the pictures of Baby Steps on Ravelry, you'll see that the entire row 2A and B was filled up with solid stitching. In fact, it's both on the horizontal and on the vertical, so you don't actually see this line. But if you look at my potholder designs, they all have this line going, as does my placemats and my table runners. Okay, so I always use the instruction to do back stitches in every double crochet until you get to the last one, and then you do a front stitch. But that's not always the case, so you've got to watch your pattern carefully. But yeah, so I hope this gives you some idea of how to interpret this graph. I'm just going to repeat this one more time in brief. So on an uneven numbered row, the bold line is a front stitch and the light line is a back stitch. And the A rows are read on the vertical lines, the B rows are read on the horizontal lines of the cell. Okay. Your B row on an uneven numbered row, the light line is a front stitch, the bold line is a back stitch. On an even numbered row, the light line on the A row is a front stitch, the bold line is a back stitch. On the B row, the light line is a back stitch, and the bold line, yes, is a front stitch. Okay. And then in order to count, if you want to incorporate solid stitching, it works in uneven numbers. So you count multiples of 2. So 2, 4, 6 plus 1. So you count every cell in a multiple of 2 plus 1. So that, for example, would be 3. This is 7. This is 5, 5, 7, 3, and so forth. I hope this has helped you. And yeah, good luck. If you wanted to start your interlocking design journey, feel free to make contact with me. I'll help as much as I can. I was helped by a designer, and so I feel it's just important to pay it forward. I was sort of helped by a designer. I worked it out to a point, and then once I got it, I made contact, and she gave me some great guidance thereafter. And I'm happy to do the same for anyone else who wants to get into this. It is quite the wild ride. It's very addictive, and I love every second of it. So good luck with that, and I look forward to hearing from you. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, please click at the bottom. And if you'd like to be part of my Facebook group, see what we're up to, gain some more knowledge, some free pattern every now and again. There are also some PDF tutorials. You are welcome to just click on the link in the description for the Facebook group and send me a join request, and I'll get it sorted. Thank you. Until next time. Cheers. Hey guys, if you're interested in following me on Instagram or joining my Facebook group for Interlocking Crochet, whether you're a beginner or you're interested in more patterns, the links are below in the description.